Gravel tasted like a coin I'd swallowed as a child. That was my first thought, lying face down on the switchback, blood in my mouth, my right shoe somewhere above me on the trail. Not my son pushed me, not I am going to die, just the copper taste. And the blanket, Myra's blanket. She'd knitted it for the trip, cream-colored, meant for the summit picnic, and now it was wound around my wrist where I'd grab for something, anything, on the way down. I could feel the loops of yarn against my pulse. She'd made it in April. I remembered her showing me the pattern on her phone, asking if the color was too bridal for a hiking trip. I'd said no, it's lovely. 4 months later, it was tourniqueting my arm on a ledge 11 feet below the path. Don't move. My husband's voice close. Wrong. Pretend to be dead. I obeyed before I understood I was obeying. Some old animal in me simply complied. It was only after the stillness had already settled into my limbs that the first thought arrived. How did he know to say that? Not are you hurt, not help is coming. He had reached in the space of a single breath for the exact correct instruction, the way a man reaches for a light switch in his own house in the dark. Above us, voices. Not triumphant. That surprised me more than the fall itself. Elias, my son, only son, was breathing hard, and Mira was saying something in the clipped, unhappy tone of a woman finishing a task she'd talked herself into and now regretted the shape of. We should check, she said. They're 40 feet down a rock face. There's nothing to check. A pause. Wind. Just call it in later. Say we got separated. I lay with my cheek against the stone and let an ant investigate the corner of my mouth and did not flinch. Grief, I learned that afternoon, has a texture. It is not the crying kind, not yet. It is simply cold ground and a held breath and the specific indignity of being small. They left. Mountain took its sound back, whined through scrub pine, some bird complaining 2 ridges over, and my husband exhaled like a man setting down something heavy. Arthur, I whispered, how did you know what to say? He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice had gone somewhere I didn't recognize, somewhere older than the 41 years I'd known him. Because I've done it before, he said, the other way. I turned my head. Blood had dried along his temple into a dark comma. His hand went to his coat, the inside pocket, and drew out the watch. I'd seen it every day of our marriage. Cracked crystal, hand stopped at 417, dent along the casing like a thumbprint pressed into warm wax. I'd always been told it belonged to his grandfather, a keepsake, a quiet, sentimental thing he wound out of habit, though it never kept time. It was my father's, he said, not my grandfather's. I lied about that 30 years ago, and then it was easier to keep lying. He turned it over in his fingers. I was 22. We were up near the quarry, him and me, and there was an argument about money, the kind of argument that isn't really about money. I didn't push him. I want you to understand that. But I let him fall, and when he called out from the ledge, I didn't answer. I let him believe, for 11 hours, that his own son had heard him and said nothing, that the silence was the point. He survived. He never told anyone what he believed happened up there, and I never corrected it, and he died 4 years later still carrying it, and I let him. The wind picked up. Somewhere below us, water was moving over stone, patient and indifferent. You taught him to be quiet, I said. It wasn't a question. Elias. However it happened, however small, you taught him I couldn't find the word. Choreography seemed too gentle. Architecture seemed too kind. I don't know what I taught him, Arthur said, and for the first time in the whole terrible afternoon, his voice cracked. I only know the shape of it, and I recognized the shape of it the second I saw his hand on your shoulder. I lay there holding 2 griefs at once, and they would not fit together, and they would not separate. My son had tried to kill us. My husband had once let a man die inside a lie of his own making, and had carried the evidence of it in his coat pocket for 3 decades, warm against his chest. Every single day he kissed me good morning. We were found near dusk. Not by search parties, not by helicopters. A groundskeeper's log had flagged unscheduled trail activity at the wrong gate. A ranger doing a routine radio check noticed that Elias's "we got separated" call had come in 90 minutes after his own GPS ping placed him back at the trailhead. Nobody shouted. Nobody arrested anyone on the mountain. It was paperwork, mostly, quiet, procedural, the kind of dismantling that takes weeks instead of moments. Arthur died 2 days later in the hospital, an injury to his spleen no one had caught in time. Understated the way real endings often are. He asked for the watch before they took him to surgery. I didn't give it to him. I don't fully know why. I have it now in my own coat pocket, hand still stopped at 417. Some mornings I take it out and hold it and try to decide what I owe the dead. My husband, his father, whatever version of my son existed before that afternoon on the ridge. I haven't wounded it. I haven't thrown it away. I carry it the way he did, close and unexplained, and mine now. Reasons I am still deciding whether to call mercy or theft.